join me on the way to Isla de Sol, a Bolivian island known as the mythical birthplace of the Inca Empire. The island lies on Lake Titicaca, which at over 3,800 meters is the highest navigable body of water in the world. I may look cozy here, but this is all for show. The altitude means it is cold. Hello, donkey. There are carnivals going on all over South America in the month of February. Celebrations vary from community to community, but from my experience so far, water fights and foam fights always seem to be involved. I got to experience a lot of this a few days earlier in Cusco, where I was targeted a lot. Maybe it was because I'm a lone traveller, but I kept getting sprayed with water and white foam. As my dear friend Guy would say, "Get off me!" Fortunately, the carnival celebrations on Isla de Sol were a lot more chill, and the kids didn't want to target me, which I was very grateful for. This little girl was kitted out. She had a water gun connected to her backpack, which had a reserve of even more water inside, and she was going around town targeting boys twice her age. Big respect. Feeling blessed that I didn't get a soaking, I decided to walk up the hill and treat myself to an early dinner whilst taking in the incredible views of the lake. After dinner, on my way home, I noticed locals carrying white flags. I suspect this has got something to do with the carnival celebrations, but I'm not entirely sure what the meaning is. I'm intrigued, so I decide to follow a family that's carrying a flag out of town and into the countryside. I can't tell if I'm trespassing on people's land, but I'm so fascinated I keep wandering aimlessly. As well as the flags, I noticed that crops are covered with balloons and ribbons. The purpose of carnivals in Andean culture is often to honor Pachamama, which is the Quechua for Mother Earth. Quechua is an indigenous language found in parts of Ecuador, Bolivia, and Peru. As I stroll through the fields, I imagine that the flags, balloons, and ribbons have something to do with this, but I'm not entirely sure. This is Lake Titicaca, for a body of water that big to be so high up. It doesn't make sense to me geographically. I really need a wee, but I think the whole purpose of today is to protect Pachamama, Mother Earth. So I feel like it would be heavily disrespectful to go for a wee anywhere. It's very tempting though. Okay, we're now gonna try and make friends with some locals. I'm not very confident. Seems like quite a family day today, but we'll do our best. This family in the bottom left corner seem friendly, so I decide to approach them.
Interesa mucho el festival. Y tengo alguna pregunta.
Before we really start chatting, the family insists that I try some of their cocoa leaves. The man also pours me a full fat cup of Coke. He knows me well. I like him already.
¿Cuál es su nombre? Isabella. Soy Martín.
The man is called Emerson, and this is his wife Kusi and their daughter Isabella. Emerson explains to me that the balloons and ribbons act as a blessing to encourage a successful harvest, and the white flags are to thank Pachamama for her fertility and protection. It turns out Emerson and the other locals primarily grow potatoes.
¿Y dónde venden las papas?
Interestingly, they don't sell their potatoes, they're only for the family's consumption. He explains that the hills around Lake Titicaca are where the Incas first domesticated the potato. Apparently, because of the freezing nights on the island and warm days, the natives freeze-dry their potatoes into something called chunyo, so it can be preserved for years to come. Emerson said they do this process with their feet, which I didn't quite understand. I would say 3/4 of our conversation revolved around potatoes, but I kind of loved it.
¿Y para cuánto tiempo tu familia?
Emerson also said he has multiple relatives who have lived until 110, and he credits this to the potatoes. When they weren't speaking to me, they would speak to one another in Aymara, a native language that is different to Quechua. After a beautiful and educational evening, I say goodbye to Emerson and his lovely family and make my way back to my accommodation. On the way, I encounter a local band marching through the countryside. I'm intrigued what the boxes are on people's backs, so I ask one of the locals.
Perdona, ¿qué hay aquí? Cerveza era. Sí, demasiado.
Ah,
se ve muy pesado.
It turns out that it's just a box full of beers.
Ah, entiendo. ¿Tú de dónde eres? Inglaterra. Wow.
These guys were lovely. The woman is the sister of the mayor of the village, and this is her husband who has travelled all the way from the capital, La Paz, to take part in what he describes as one of the most beautiful and traditional festivals in the country. Once again, we spent most of our time talking about potatoes. I get the hype. If I could only have one carbohydrate for the rest of my life, it would probably be potatoes. Let me know what yours would be in the comments. I get lost in the potato chat and realize I actually have no idea where I'm going.
¿Es posible caminar al pueblo en esta dirección?
They reassure me that this route works and that it will take me close to where I'm staying for the evening. It felt like a beautiful cult. The guy carrying the flag even let me hold it at one point so he could go for a piss. I questioned his dedication to Pachamama. I'd been holding in my piss for the last 3 hours. After a lovely walk through the night, I said goodbye to the locals and felt incredibly blessed that I was able to experience something so magical. Wow, what an experience. How do I get home? Forgot to buy a SIM card, so we have no data. This way. We'll go left. What an experience. I'm so glad I got to experience that. And everyone was, oh my god, we've literally gone in a massive circle. I recognise this shop. Okay. I eventually made it home and slept a restful sleep, dreaming of the marching band. Do 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 do.